Cars franchise is no stranger to merchandise. Since the movie's release in 2006, the franchise itself has garnered over $1 billion just in merchandise sales. Of course, that can range from various things, whether that be the 155 scale diecast, various bed sheets you might have owned as a kid, or even some eating utensils. Point being, if there's an item, there's probably a cause equivalent for it. But when you've been collecting as long as I have, you're gonna run into some pretty strange items. And those items you might think are so strange that you might just want to grab them and add them to your collection. Hello everyone, well this is Gerald Quicktire here, and as a part of the guest host week hosted by G-Toy Reviews Thai, I'm going to be highlighting some of my top 5 strangest cons items that I own. Now, just a little disclaimer, just because I include them in this video does not mean I hate these items. I love all of them. I love all my cars items, but I just picked these items because I found them particularly odd and strange and wanted to share it with the rest of you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming in the fifth spot is an item that's actually been released quite recently, that being the LEGO Speed Champions Lightning McQueen. Now, just for the record, I love this model. It is very accurate and it's capturing of Clause 1 McQueen with all the decals. Granted, they are stickers, but well, LEGO doesn't have stickers these days. And, it's a pretty good model until you get to the front. And I don't know what happened, but the front part looks really strange because there's these two tiles that kind of hang out to make it look like he has like a upper chin, but it kind of looks like he almost has like buck teeth, which I find very odd. I think they should have maybe added more white in his teeth to make the hood be a little bit more even with the sides here. And I think the back portion is also a little off. Like it's not as curvy as he is in the movie. But again, McQueen is a very hard character to get right in LEGO. So, and I think this is probably the best representation of him we could have gotten. But yeah, the front half is a little strange for me, but I can't quite, dislike him for that, and that's why he's on the number 5 spot on my list. Coming in the number 4 spot, we have the digital Rev Rotages. Now, you might be asking, Gerald, he looks okay. Like, he has the accurate decals, a good expression. Why is he weird to you? And yeah, he looks good from a distance, but once you get up close, you realize, wait a minute, he's not the right model. In the Mattel 155 scale diecast line, and in the movie, he's clearly based off of Brick Yardley. But this is to put him on the Bobby Swift mold. It just looks really weird. He looks like scrunched and almost like a mistake. But this is actually a common thing with Disney store cars. Like, they would put the racist decals on the wrong body, even though that's not accurate at all. I think it's because the Disney store, to my knowledge, has never produced the Brick Yardley model, but they've produced a ton of the Bobby Swift model, so they probably just reused that casting for Rev here, and for that reason, this item is a little weird. It's very much so, like, uncanny valley. It's not as bad as, like, putting Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s decals on a Billy Oil Changer model, but it is pretty strange, and that's why it's number 4 on the list. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Mack Transporter set. Now, this item carries a lot of nostalgia for me because it was one of the first diecast items I got all the way back in 2010, and it was pretty much my only Mack up until 2021 when I eventually got a number 1. I really liked the features. It had, I think it was like a light and sounds car where it would talk, and you could also store 6 cars, and you can also flip down a ramp, and if you put a car on top, it can go down, and you can have some playability with it. So I always thought that was really cool. But the weirdest part, to me, was the lack of his trailer decals. If you see Mack in most pieces of merchandise, you'll see the semi of him, his face and everything, and the trailer decal for that corresponding movie, whether that be Cars 1, Cars 2, or Cars 3. And most Mack merchandise follows that rule. However, this one, I mean, obviously, if you had the trailer decals, you couldn't really see the cars inside, so they opted to just not include those, but rather have like a little sticker So that says Lightning McQueen with a little lightning bolt and 95 on it. Now, thankfully, they did keep the backdoor decal, so at least some of it was retained. But yeah, it feels very weird to me. Now, granted, this is a thing you do see in real life. Transporters like these do exist. I've seen them a couple of times on the highway, so it's not like they pulled this out of nowhere. But yeah, seeing a Mac without the side decals, it was always like the weird one to me. Whenever I see my trailer collection and I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, he doesn't have his side decals. But it's still a very cool item, but very weird and no side decals. And that's why it's number 3 on the list. Coming in at number 2 spot, we have the Quick Changes Lightning McQueen and Francesco Bernoulli. Now, the Quick Changes, if y'all don't know, was a short-lived line that basically featured cars with crashing features, such as pop-out tires, pop-out weapons, or even crash damage. And the gimmick with these was that you can either push a button on the back, and it'll do the damage, or you can smash it into a wall or against other cars, and the damage will get inflicted on them. Well, it was a cool line. It did create for some weird looking cars when you have them in the damage mode, and that's apparent with these two here. Now, McQueen did get a couple variations. This is the one from the Quick Changes playset. I forgot the name of it, but it's basically the one where he lifts off his back and he does his ka-chow pose. And it's cool, but very weird because we never see cars lift up their backs, and it just feels like a very odd item, especially in my McQueen collection where it's just all normal McQueens and you just have this one that's like really high up. Yeah, you can see mine has a little bit of wear and tear because I really love this item, and the fact they were all plastic and made of stickers, no decals unfortunately, but that's why I went with this side. Francesco is a more recent purchase, but yeah, he looks a little weird, especially with like his damage is basically his front half like twists when he presses like little engine intake, and it's so weird. It's almost like looks like he's a snake, and I don't know how I feel about that. But again, these items are very cool, and they're very fun for playability, so very cool items, but yeah, kind of weird in the gimmicks they chose. And that's why they're number 2 on the list. And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have Pillow Pet Lightning McQueen. Now you might be asking yourselves, Gerald, what is this? Well, pillow pets are basically these travel pillows for very young kids who want to take their favorite characters across the world. And Cars was no exception. In fact, McQueen here has 2 pillow pet variants, one for Cars 2 and one for Cars 3. The Cars 3 one actually looks significantly better, but the Cars 2 one, yeah, just from the video, you can kind of see why it looks so cursed. Of course, since pillow pets have this certain aesthetic, McQueen here was kind of changed to fit within that aesthetic. But unlike the Speed Champions McQueen, I don't think it was done quite as good because there's this large gap between his tires and his hood, which almost makes it look like he has legs. So, hey, if you ever wanted to see what cars would look like with legs, well, here's the answer. And yeah, he's very squished as well. You can see how much love this guy got from me when I was younger, just from the scuff marks here. Yeah, I love this guy to pieces. But yeah, a very squished and almost stretched out McQueen. And it's just so weird that I still own this in my collection. But it gets weirder. Say you're tired from a road trip and you just want to, sleep on the seat. Well, what you can do is open up McQueen and his sides completely stretch out. And yeah, this looks so... I mean, this doesn't look as bad as when he is standing up, but yeah, he looks like he's in terrible pain and he wants your help. Yeah, this item is certainly a weird one to put on the list, but it's just... It feels so unreal that I have this item in my collection that I almost could not include it. But I still love this item. It's one of my favorites, and that's why, for all of the proportions and the weird feature, that's why it's number 1 on my list. And that's going to conclude the weirdest cars items that I own. I just want to give a huge thank you to Ty for having me as a guest for Guest Host Week, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. This is Gerald Quicktire, signing out.